Welcome back everyone to another episode of ShadeTV. My name is Marissa Hill. Today we're going to be discussing the Air Max 1 Big Bubble and the key differences between the women versus the men. Let's take a quick sneak peek. Welcome back to another episode of ShadeTV. Today we're going to be doing a comparison of the Air Max 1 Big Bubbles, the men versus the women pair. So let's jump right into it. One of the most, I think, asked questions on my Air Max 1 Big Bubble video was, is there a key difference between the men versus the women? So as many of you know, I actually copped a women's size in Big Bubble on the Sneakers app, and then I was able to cop a pair of the men's version in store. So I decided to do a video to help those of you out who are struggling on deciding whether or not you should get a women's pair versus a men's pair. So some of the key difference and issues I think people were most worried about is the bubble. So as you can see on my men's version and my women's version, there are 4 complete bubble circles on there. So as the sizes get a little bit smaller in the woman's version, I feel like it's going to obviously get a little bit more compact. With that being said, it is because you are shrinking in the size range. As far as the women's size 9 goes, I don't see any key differences between the bubble on the women's right here, as you can see, versus the men's. I even measured the bubbles with a tape measure, but you can definitely see all of the 4 circles equally in my size range. Again, if you are a smaller size in women's, you're probably maybe going to see a little bit more of a squished big bubble, but on the size 9 range, you're not going to see any key differences. And anything above a size 9, you're definitely probably going to have that same similar size of the bubbles as the men's does. All right, so another key difference that a lot of people I think were asking is the sizing of this. So if you're someone like me who has more of a narrow foot, I would definitely highly recommend sticking with the women's, just because it is much more narrow. The easiest way to honestly be able to tell how much more narrow this is by looking on the interior of the sneaker itself. So you can kind of see that the men's side here is a little tiny bit wider. So if you do have wider feet, I would recommend going on the men's size range if you have the option to do so. But again, narrow is definitely going to fit a bit better on the women's size range. As far as the heel goes as well, one of the key differences I noticed is that the men's is just slightly higher up. So you can kind of see that from the front there, but that is a little bit higher on the back of the collar. Other than that, the materials look exactly the same. The boxes are exactly the same. You're not getting anything different as far as material goes. And as far as quality control goes, I would say the same on both sneakers as well. The only key difference with the sizing, obviously you're gonna have the women's sizing on the interior here, as well as the men's sizing on there in the men's size range. All right, so I hope that this helps. If you have any questions, hopefully I was able to cover all of those questions that you may have on key differences. But again, my best advice for you is probably more so as far as what type of foot you have when you're deciding on which size range you should go with in men's versus women's. All right, everybody, that is it for this episode and this comparison. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Marissa Hill. This is ShadeTV. We will catch you on the next episode.